Okay, I wanted to take a look at this video of Valerie Allman I saw on the internet. It's from an angle you don't usually see, about cameras maybe 11 o'clock. Alright, let's take a look at this, break it down a little bit. Once again, I'm just going over what I'm seeing, how I interpret the throw. Alright, coming around. See, the left arm is staying pretty much with the left knee. Even all the way here at 9 o'clock and all the way down to 6 o'clock. So she's not really throwing that left arm way ahead. From this angle, we can see that it's just a little bit ahead here. Okay, you see the right foot being pulled forward toward 12 o'clock, the back of the circle, and then turns. You can see she's got a 90-degree bend in that right leg, so she can whip that sweep leg forward with a strong kick to drive into the circle. It's interesting how she has the left shoulder higher than the right shoulder here and the left arm up high. I don't know why that's why she's doing that, but maybe it's to counter this discus being down, so that the discus can then rise, because the discus on the arm is in line with the shoulders, and the left arm's also aligned. So everything's in alignment. It's just tilted. That could be maybe she's trying to keep the left shoulder behind the left hip, behind the left knee. So vertical here. Okay. Watch her eyes. Watch how long she stares toward the throwing sector from right here. This whole time. It's quite a bit. She actually goes from her head and eyes looking down her left shoulder to her body rotating while she's still looking. Now the head's more neutral. In between. Right here. Where now the head's more neutral, looking forward in between the shoulders, in line with the chest. Okay, so let's take a look at the left knees dropping down. And right here, you see a vertical left thigh. Okay, so right here, it's keeping everything back. And then she can, with that thigh, she can rotate around that, setting up that left side axis. See how she rotates around it? Left arm's pulling back, right leg sweeping forward. Those two are working together, which brings the discus up. Looks like her right shoulder's a little bit, maybe right on top of the right hip here. Something else I've noticed is, based on, or compared to the previous year, she's got a lot more muscle, a lot more tone, a lot more cut. Tremendous. Okay, so as the left foot comes around, rotates around, you can see that left heel is staying pretty low. So she's going to be able to drive. See, it's dorsiflexed right here. And then she just gets ready to push off right there. Now she becomes plantar flexed. But no more than that, just to a vertical heel. Vertical bottom of the foot right there, and then it just comes off. She's not trying to really push off with that foot any further than that, because that'll be too much of a delay. Now, we've always heard that the drive comes from that left leg, but I think you got the vertical thigh here, and you got that drive of that sweep leg on the right, just driving forward. It just seems like that really has a lot to do also with the drive into the circle, the vertical drive, along with the rotational, but that combination of sweeping just as it passes the left vertical thigh there, then the thigh angles more to the front. See how it angles, and the leg straightens, the left leg. I think that combination of not just the left knee being down and the extension of the left leg, but also that sweep of the right leg is driving her forward. Another interesting thing I see is the right leg starts high here. The sweep leg comes down low, toes up, and then it just looks like she goes higher. And normally I wouldn't see her do that. I would see her come from high to low and stay low, so she could get to the ground quickly. But it just seems like she's rising here. Now that could be just because I see the heel coming up, right here, and that heel's coming up. I think because she's pushing the toes down. See, now the foot's flat on the right foot. We're here, the toes up high. It's almost vertical, about 45 degrees. And I was kind of playing around with this, and I noticed if I tried this from a straight leg, and then the leg's in front of you, and if you let the toe come down like that, it actually naturally bends that knee. So maybe it's helping her to bend that knee as it comes around. Get into the sprint position here. Now she's got almost a 45-degree bend from the thigh to the shin. Right here. Okay. Discus is coming from low to high. And let's take a look at the left arm. A lot of people think she stops at 6 o'clock. But watch the left elbow. Left elbow never stops. She's driving it back now. See? Okay. This is interesting. The left or the right leg from the hip all the way down to the vertical shin. Well, it's stacked. I mean, the knee's forward, so the shin is angled forward. But everything's stacked up on top here vertically. So she's not letting her lower body being pushed out to the throwing direction. And she's countering that motion of that forward linear motion with this lean, quite a bit of a lean inward, so that she's not being flung out to the throwing sector. Plus this lean brings this discus up high. You can see the discus is still in line with the shoulders. She's up here at the high point. Another point I want to make, as soon as this right foot lands, look where the left foot is. Okay, the knees are almost both facing the same way. Left foot's almost at 9 o'clock. It'll catch up very quickly. See, now the shins are both pretty much aligned. And the knees are almost pointing the same direction, right? Yeah, right here. Very quick. That's because I think she's not pushing off too far with that toe. Letting the foot come off naturally very quickly. Okay. She goes from a high heel here at the right foot, and as she rotates, that heel gets really low. It almost looks like it touches, but it's not. It just continues to rotate around. So right here, her hips are pretty much square to the back of the circle. You can see the discus is no longer aligned with the shoulders. It's actually above. So the discus rose, and then you can see here the angle of her from her hip to her head matches her shin angle down to the ankle to the knee perfectly. The left arm, the elbow is out here horizontally, and you'll see that she drives that left elbow almost straight around. She never extends that arm either. It's the left arm is short. And right here, the left elbow will start to come down. Okay, so she's driving it pretty much horizontally, and then down here. Another interesting thing I saw was the discus is aligned here at the arm, here's below, but it's still aligned with the shoulders. It's going to come up to this high point. It's going to go. See, it's still aligned with the shoulders here, but now here it's higher than the shoulders. But as she comes around, you'll see she shortens that radius by right here. You can see the discus is quite a bit below her shoulder line now. This is just something I'm noticing. So I would think that it's because the radius is now shorter from the discus to the center of her body, that it's moving faster. Now you have more rotary speed and less inertia. But then as she comes around, see the discus is still below the shoulder line. But as she comes up to release it, now, just as it's released, you can see that she's brought the discus back up in line with the shoulders. So it's very interesting. High above the shoulders, shortens the radius by scooping downward and then bringing it back up. And then the hand will finish above the shoulders here. Up high and to the left. You see the discus is vertical here. And then she's going to rotate. And then from this point right here, the discus is at whatever angle she's releasing us at, 35, 40 degrees, and falls perfectly. Other thing I wanted to point out here is as soon as the left toes touch right here, the shoulders, chest is facing the back of the circle at 12. You have to have a lot of flexibility here. It's really hard to, if you try to hit that knee or the heel down here on the left even lower, or if you, she's in the cowboy position here, a saddle position with both knees facing away from each other. So you have to really be flexible to do this. But this helps to be on this the inside, landing on the big toe. And you'll see how she will rotate that left foot now to a heel down position. Watch how she opens up that left knee, rotates it out and around, rotates at the hip, all the way around. Okay, and where have we seen this position before? Back here at the beginning. Right here. Same position. It's like just coming out of the windup. She does that in several places where she'll repeat the same pattern. Okay, so her left heel is still our left heel's high. It's going to come down, and the right heel is going to come up. But the foot's not really rotating. It's more being driven by the knee. See, the knee's coming inside the foot now. Right here, the knee is aligned on top of the toes, outside the toes, but aligned over the top of the toes. But now you can see the knee is driving inside. So she's not really rotating the foot, but thinking more of just driving that knee forward, which is, of course, driving the hip forward. And then she comes through around and loses contact with the right toe right about here. But you see how she goes to a vertical right foot right here. That drops that, keeps that knee down low. Okay, so she's not jumping up with that right leg. She's gonna, now the right foot's going to continue to slide forward as the hip comes forward. And here you can see the knee beside the knee, left and right knees together. That's the position you want right there. Now watch how her she'll keep that left hip back. As she straightens it, it's going to be foot, knee, and then left hip. See how it stays back? And as she extends, the left leg is angled backward, and it's perfectly in line from her head down to her foot here to the ankle. So there's no arch in her back. It's just a perfect lean back. And you can accomplish that by having this bent right leg. So that gives you the ability to lean back rather than extending this right leg, which will make you become more vertical. So you want that backward leaning left foot. See, she's coming up on the toe here too on the left. So she's pushing back. See how the foot pushes and then goes back into the reverse. So she's extending that right at the perfect moment. See, the right hip is now ahead of the left hip. The discus is just leaving her hand. Okay, that's where you want to be. Head is up, eyes are looking pretty much straight up in the air there. You can do that if you're consistently throwing in the not fouling into the throwing sector. Some people, they do this with the eyes straight up and they'll foul because they're not really focused on where the discus is going to land. They don't have a target. So if you try this and the discus goes out of bounds, try keeping your head down and watch picking out a target tree or something at the end of the circle. And then later on, you could practice this with the upper head back, stretching the chest and stretching the neck muscles, tensing them out. Another thing I wanted to take a look at right here. See, the left shoulder is pretty much aligned with this pole. The camera moves a little bit, so it's not going to be exact, but watch how her left shoulder will stay pretty close to this pole. See? She spins around. Her upper body's not really going forward. She's rotating around. Okay? Trying to rotate along this axis that she's created here, this lean back axis. And then she'll bring that left leg up high to keep from fouling, to counterbalance the her momentum going forward. High left leg, and then jumping. So as the foot just becomes the one on the ground, just starts to get twisted. See the knees coming around. That's when she'll jump to keep her balance. Okay. Jump again, just as the right knee is starting to come around. Twisting the foot. So prevent twisting that foot or getting off balance, she'll jump in the air. Okay. I think that's everything I was noticing. Really interesting right here with the vertical left thigh. And then the discus coming above the shoulders and then coming down, what we would normally call a scoop. And then rising back up from a vertical discus here. And then the hand flipping over. Okay, well, if you learned anything, you thought this was interesting, please share, like, and subscribe. Thank you.